Hi everyone, it's Stacy. Thank you for coming on this yoga leap with me. Today we are going to be flowing through a bit of a warrior series. We do this sometimes where we focus a lot on some of the warrior postures. It's a great way to build up strength and stretching and everything is kind of used in the warrior posture. So I love going through a series like this. So we're going to do a little warm up and then flow through our series and a little bit of stretching and shavasana as always. So if you're ready to get started, grab any props that you like to practice with, blocks, straps, blankets, bolsters. I don't really use any other than my trusty chair, which of course, as always, I'll be moving between the chair and the floor. And so if you're waiting for me to cue you in one of those, just take a few extra breaths in the posture you found and wait for me to catch up to you. Welcome to anyone new, if this is the first time you found these videos, and welcome back to everyone who's been practicing with me through the videos for the last couple of years. So I'm going to step back and we'll start seated as always with our warm-up. So I'm going to start in the chair today. Last week, I think I started on the ground, on the floor. Feel free to make yourself comfortable on your mat, any kind of comfortable cross-legged position or lotus or half lotus if you're feeling ready for that or you're practicing that. It is the beginning of the practice, so sometimes we're not warmed up through our hips enough for that. So any comfortable posture. If you're in the chair, feet planted firmly on the ground, and maybe just using the back of the chair, if you have a back of your chair, as a bit of support, but we don't want to kind of slouch into the chair. We want to still maintain a nice tall spine so we can try to maximize the space for our breath to flow. A nice option for blocks is if the chair is too high for you, you can put the block under your feet if you're using them, or anything really, even a book or a blanket or bolster. If your feet are not quite touching the ground, it's nice to be able to ground. Having said that, let's start to ground the rest of ourselves. So feet planted, sit bones rooting down into the chair or the floor. Hands can rest, as always, on our lap. Palms can be turned down or turned up. Turning the palms down might give you a calming sense, a little bit more grounding feeling. So depending on what you're looking for, if you're looking to bring energy down and find a calm practice or a calm couple moments here, turning the hands down will be nice. If you're looking to invite a bit of energy into your practice and your movement, turning the palms up might be nice. So depending on what type of day it is for you and really what you're looking for in your personal practice today. Hands can also just rest in the lap, across the heart, or in prayer if that's comfortable, whatever feels best for you. And then if it's comfortable, we can close eyes. If not, maybe just turning the gaze softly down towards something nice and stable that's not moving so that we can rest our gaze there. Let's just take a minute to land in whatever comfortable position we've found for ourselves and take a few breaths, just normal breaths. Don't change anything. Don't try to control the breath. Just let it come naturally, even if it's fast or slow, even if it doesn't feel as deep and fulfilling as you think it should be. Just notice the breath right here and now. Start to really focus in on the breath and notice other things about it. Is it deep? Is it shallow? Is it fast? Is it slow? Is it loud or quiet? Does it feel labored? Are there any sticky areas where you sort of have to get over a hump of stickiness? And it's all okay. We're just noticing the breath. Start to see if we can find softness through the shoulders, through the face, and rooting down through sit bones, maybe growing a little taller. And then we can start to deepen the breath and see if we have more space here as we sort of root down and find length in the spine to inhale and fill our whole bodies in a 360-degree fashion. So belly, ribs, chest expanding forward, sideways, backwards. Really try to picture like a balloon or a barrel and fill up that space. And then let it all go. Taking another inhale, filling belly, ribs, and chest. And exhaling chest, ribs, and belly. Try to find your own perfect pace and Find a nice smoothness to the inhale and the exhale, just as if your normal breath is happening. There's no real stop and start, but sometimes when we start to control the breath, we find that we're stopping and starting, or maybe counting, and let's just try and find big, deep, smooth breaths. So we're controlling it a little bit, deepening it a little bit, but still wanting it to feel natural and smooth in our bodies. Stay for a couple more rounds. And as we sit here and breathe, if creating a personal motto or mantra or setting an intention as part of your practice, go ahead and find these next few moments to do that. It can be anything or nothing. Something simple like I am here, I am present, I am grounded, or nothing at all. Maybe you want to set a goal for yourself, anything that resonates with you for your practice today. And just repeating it to yourself quietly a few times just to kind of let it settle in, become part of the breath and the practice. And then when we're ready, if the eyes are closed, maybe just fluttering the eyelids open, taking a look around, taking in the space around you, and we'll start to bring a bit of movement to the breath here. Let's just all inhale, sweep our arms up overhead. And then exhale down to our side. Let's do that a couple more times. Inhale, sweep the arms up. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Let's inhale, add a twist. We'll inhale here. As we exhale, we'll twist over to one side. If you've got a chair, you might want to reach back, find the back of that chair, and the arm crosses in front of the body, finds the knee, whether you're seated in the chair or on the floor. On the next inhale, let's sweep the arms up. Let's exhale the other way. Finding a bit of length as we inhale here for a breath and a bit more depth as we exhale. On the next inhale, untwist, reach up. Just find a couple of flows with your breath, twisting from one side to the next. Inhale up through center. Let's find a lateral stretch, those sides stretch. We'll let one hand either find the chair for support or find the mat for support as the opposite arm reaches up and over and we find that side stretch. I'm going to use my chair for some support here, and I want to really root down through the opposite hip to stay grounded. Now, especially if you're in the chair and especially if you're in a wobbly chair like mine, I could easily lose my balance. So I really want to stay nice and grounded on the opposite side, really creating space and openness here. All right, let's inhale up through center, other side. Exhale the opposite arm down and arm over. Good, stay rooted down here. Keep balance in that chair. And then we'll inhale, flow with our breath for a couple of breaths. One more on each side. Good, let's inhale, reach up. Let's exhale the hands back down to our side. Roll the shoulders a couple of times. Other way. All right, let's inhale the arms up. We'll clasp the fingers and flip the palms up towards the ceiling, finding a nice long spine here. You can bend side to side, little micro bends, little movements here if you like. And let's just pause for a second. And then as we exhale, we're gonna flip the palms towards our face and start to draw the palms forward as they also reach forward. And we're gonna splay through the shoulder blades. So it's a little bit of a seated cat-cow option. If you are on the floor and you prefer to go to all fours and do some cat-cows from your tabletop position, by all means, find that here and now. Otherwise, we're reaching up, stretch up. And as you reach up, you may find a little heart opener, a little bit of extension through the spine, and then exhale, pull those palms away from you. They're facing you, but pull them away. Find a nice rounding through the spine here. All right, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, maybe one more at your own pace, one or two. On the next inhale, reach up, release the hands. Let's circle them behind us. See if we can move forward on the chair if we need to, so we can clasp hands behind us. Open up through the heart center. Stay nice and lifted here, or exhale, fold forward, palms reach up towards the ceiling. You may have the palms separated. Maybe you can get the palms together, depending on your body, depending on how your shoulders are feeling. Stay for a couple breaths. Let the head hang. Don't forget to breathe. And then we'll inhale to pull ourselves all the way back up. Good. Roll the shoulders. Shake it out. Let it go. All right. Let's move into our warrior series. Now I just want to demonstrate the warrior series option in the chair, and then I'm going to join you on the mat. So maybe if you are someone who wants to flow through a vinyasa, find a downward dog to stretch it out a little bit, by all means go for that while I demonstrate the chair options. The first warrior we're going to get into is warrior one. So depending on what type of chair you have, you will just maybe scooch to the edge of it, and you're going to turn sideways on it so that you're sort of facing the side. And your right leg here in this instance will be supported by the chair, and we'll step our left leg back. Now you'll notice my foot's flat on the ground here if we can. And we're going to try and tilt the hips so that they also face the front leg here. So the hips are not open to the side. We're going to get here in warrior two, but for warrior one, this is the positioning. So this might feel good. You're nice and supported. If you can't get your foot flat, no problem. Come into a bit more of a lunge, because we are going to do some breath work in warrior one, where we're going to lift the arms up, straighten the leg, and then pull back in. So we'll be doing this standing as well. It doesn't look much different standing. And we'll move through some breath work. Warrior two, when we transition, now is where from the chair the hips turn, and they're facing sort of the camera or the front of the room rather than the side. So the right leg's still supported, the hips open up, back foot is long, and the toes are pointing forward. Arms will come long, and we'll flow through some movement in warrior two. So those are our warrior options in the chair. And I'm going to do the rest of the movements on the mat here, standing up. So let's all just regroup before we move into our warrior series here. Let's just take a moment to really notice the connection of our feet to the mat, whether we're seated or standing. We just want to bring some attention to our bellies. We want to have nice strong bellies pulled in for all of our warrior series. Make sure the knees are nice and soft, and think about stacking everything. So think about sort of stacking ankles, knees, hips, pulling everything in and creating a nice long line here. All right, I've already turned sideways, so I'm going to get into my first warrior one from here. So in your chair, remember, we're going to have the right foot forward, supported by your chair, left foot back, and like I was mentioning, finding a nice stance here for you so that you can turn the hips. And if it's too much, to keep the foot planted on this little 45-degree angle, no problem. We can find a lunge variation. That's where the toes are staying on the ground, but the heel comes up. It might help you angle your hips forward and square your hips off with the front leg. So either, like I was saying, a high lunge or warrior one. Hips are facing this bent leg in the front. Let's take an inhale here, reach up. At any time, if arms are long and it's too much, we can shorten the levers by bringing hands to our shoulders, keeping our hands at heart center or on our hips. Any option is great. We want to make sure we're listening to any shoulders yelling at us and making sure we're finding options that work for us. I'm going to reach my arms up here for this one, settling into my warrior one here, tilting the pelvis, creating a nice stretch down the hip flexor on the left side. Let's inhale here, good. And we're kind of energizing through that back leg as we inhale. As we exhale, can we bring the arms in, maybe bring the knee in as well. And then inhale, open up. Exhale, draw the elbows in. If you're seated, the leg can stay still. If you're standing, the back leg can stay still. And we just move through some nice strong arm movements here. All right. In fact, in Warrior One, it might feel awkward to be bending that back leg. So if you do want to bend a leg, maybe come up into the high lunge version here. Straighten and then bend. That might feel better. All right, let's do a couple more. All right, let's inhale here. I'm going to place my back heel back down. As I exhale, sweep the arms behind, clasp the knuckles again if we can, open up through the front. Your option is to stay nice and lifted and open here, or on the exhale, bow down towards the inside of the front leg. Find your humble warrior. Stay for a couple rounds of breath. Arms might be reaching back, they might be reaching up. Or as I mentioned, you can stay nice and upright. Tilt that left hip down. Draw it down towards the mat if you're in humble warrior. Stay for a couple more breaths. On your next inhale, start to pull yourself up back through your Warrior One. Release the hands. Inhale. As we exhale, we'll all transition to Warrior Two. So now we're all going to turn those hips. The leg is still supported by the chair, and the knee is facing this way to the side of the room. Hips are facing to the front. You may need to adjust the stance wider or more narrow. Arms reach along. This is Warrior Two. We're nice and firmly rooted down through both feet and centered hips and shoulders. We're not leaning back and we're not leaning forward. Nice, strong Warrior Two. All right, let's find a bit of breath work in Warrior Two here. All right, inhale, reach for length. As we exhale, let's sweep the back arm around to the front. Kind of like you're gonna give yourself a little high five. And then we're gonna draw back like we're getting ready to shoot a bow and arrow. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Let's do one more. Inhale here. Pause. We're going to flip the front palm, reach back, find a nice big stretch and opening in a reverse warrior here. Open the heart space up towards the sun or the ceiling, wherever you are. Inhale, come back through center. We're still bent through that front leg. We're still in our Warrior Two here. Let's start to reach forward. See if we can find our elbow and knee connection. Keep the hips nice and low if we can. Find a side angle. Arm might reach up or over, or maybe that's too much. We just bring it down, stick it in our back pocket. Find a little connection to the front leg. Any arm variation is great. We just want to make sure we're sort of rotating and drawing the right ribs under, left ribs reaching up towards the ceiling, no matter where your arm is. Stay nice and open through the front side body. Thinking also about, for one more breath, not dumping into the legs. So think about a bit of core strength, keeping us nice and lifted. Gaze is anywhere that feels comfortable. One more breath. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Let's lift all the way back up. Use that core strength. We're in our Warrior Two. Flip the front palm. Reverse it one more time. Straighten through the leg. Give a little relief to that quad. Come back up. And then we'll find triangle. So triangle, we sort of reach forward with the front hand, reach the hips back towards the back wall until we can't go any further, and then we'll just tip our torso into triangle. Now, you might find your hand resting on a shin if you're looking for a little bit more stretch. If you're looking for strength, you can release the hands, reach them forward. Will you really feel the core engaged there? And gaze is anywhere that feels comfortable. Again, remember the arms, if it's too much at any time, drop the arms. Drop the long levers, focus on opening up. If you're in the chair and you can't straighten the leg, just stay with your side angle. This is where you would stay for your side angle in the chair. Triangle, we've got a nice straight leg, stay for a breath. All right, we're gonna come back up to Warrior Two. It might be hard to do from a straight leg. You may wanna bend into that support leg to help propel you back up. Warrior Two, take a breath. Good, hands to hips, straighten through the leg, turn both toes so they're facing forward. We'll take a nice forward fold. Inhale here, exhale, forward fold. Nice wide leg forward fold. Hands reaching down to block or mat. Knees can be straight or as bent as we'd like. We can stay with a nice long back or melt forward, whatever feels best. You can find some movement through the hips, Shake out the head, shake out the shoulders. And then when we're ready, we'll make our way back up to standing. Release the hands to the hips and hinge all the way back up. Good. Let's take a little break. We'll just step our feet in, shake it out, find our mountain pose, and then we're going to do that sequence on the other side. So let's find our mountain pose, sitting nice and firmly rooted and grounded in the chair as well. Take a breath, roll the shoulders, engage through the core. Again, let's find that nice tall alignment. Just take a moment to re-center. So we're in our mountain pose. I'm just going to turn. You can still be facing the same way. I'm just going to turn so that I can open up towards the camera on the other side here. When we're ready from our mountain pose, let's get ready to get into warrior one. So now if you're in the chair, that left leg is going to be supported by the chair. Right leg steps back. And again, we can come into warrior one, turn the hips forward, or since we know we're doing that breath work, maybe coming into that high lunge. I'm going to try that this time. So I'm going to find a nice big extension. I'm going to extend the back leg, reach the arms up, find a big inhale here, and then exhale, bend the knee, draw with like energy and strength, draw the elbows back in. Extend and inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. All right, let's do a couple more here. Remember, you can omit the leg movement if it's feeling funny, or if you're preferring the warrior one stance, you feel more grounded in warrior one, so your foot's down, that's fine too. Inhale here. Let's exhale. We'll do one more big inhale. This time on the exhale, sweep the hands behind, clasp the fingers, maybe try and cross the opposite sort of wrong finger on top. See how that feels. And when you're ready, you can stay lifted and open through heart space, or find that humble warrior. Bending down, drawing the right hip down towards the mat, reaching the hands back or up, finding a little bit of space between torso and thigh. Finding a couple of breaths here. On the next inhale, let's work our way back up. Awesome. Sweep the arms up, and then we'll open up to find our warrior two. Make any adjustments to the feet. So now that those right toes are facing forward. We're still supported under the chair on the left leg here. Arms come nice and wide, and we're firmly centered with weight distribution even through both feet. Gaze off the front hand. Warrior two. Let's take a big inhale. Let's exhale, sweep it around. Give yourself that little high five, and then open up. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last one here. Inhale, big inhale. Awesome. Pause here. Flip that front palm. Find your reverse warrior. Try and open the heart up towards the ceiling if you can. And again, always remembering any long levers. If it's too much, bring it maybe behind the head. Try to open up that way. Let's come back up through warrior two on our inhale. We're going to start to reach forward here. Let the elbow find the knee, and then drop the hips, especially if we're not in the chair. They tend to creep up. The chair tends to keep them down because we're sitting on them. And sweep the top arm up, over, or of course, stick it in your back pocket, reach for your leg, spiral the heart space open towards the front. Find your gaze, find 3 rounds of breath. Making sure we're not dumping in, so push up, use the core strength. 1 more breath. On the inhale, let's come back up through warrior two. Flip the front palm, reverse, straighten the front leg. A little bit of relief in the quad there. And then we'll come into our triangle. So we kind of come back up through warrior two. We start to reach forward as much as we can while sending the hips back. Once we sort of can't go any further, we just tip into triangle. So again, long arms. If it's too much, bring it down. Spin the heart open. Use your strength or find a bit of support and work on the stretch. Triangle, everything's working. We're drawing in, down, we're reaching up, we're reaching down. Triangle is a tough posture. Let's stay for 2 more breaths. Now we got to come out of this, and again, we're going to come back up through that warrior 2, so it might help to bend through that front leg to help propel us up. Oh, let's just reverse it. Come back through warrior 2. Keep the arms long as we straighten the leg, turn the toes in. We're going to make a few adjustments. So we're going to try to move into a star shape. Now, if you're in the chair, we're going to work on balance through lifting one foot off the ground and then the other. If we're standing, we're going to just turn the toes out now towards the corners, soft through the knees, engage through the belly. This is our star. Let's see if we can tip the star over into the left foot. So let's just transfer the weight into the left foot. The right toes might stay down, or maybe they lift off. So same thing in the chair. See if you can just extend one foot, reaching through the arms, finding a place to rest your gaze. All right, let's take one more breath. Inhale. Exhale, soft landing. Find that star pose again. We'll transfer the weight over to the right foot this time. Oh, I'm too close to my wall. And come up onto the left toes. See how this side's feeling. Maybe left toes come off the mat as well. Engage through the core and the glute. Don't let anything be soft. Everything's working. Energy through toes, fingers, crown of head. Find something still to rest your gaze on and find 2 more rounds of breath. Good, let's lower down. Woo. Release the hands, roll the shoulders, shake it out. Whoa, that was an energizing warrior series and a little bit of balance. So let's make our way down to the mat, stretch it out a little bit. You can make your way down any way that feels safe and comfortable. You can flow through a vinyasa or just using props or any other way. Get down safely. Come on down to the ground here. Let's stretch it out a little bit, shall we? So I was feeling a lot of work in the quads and the glutes for those warrior series. So we'll do a little quad stretch. I'll demonstrate in the chair in a minute. So for the ground quad stretch, let's make our way down to our elbow maybe, or all the way down to the ground. And we'll just see if we can find a little bit of knee stacking and hip stacking. And then maybe we can reach back and grab onto our ankle. Find a bit of a quad stretch. If you're feeling like you want to roll onto your stomach to do this, we still want to support our body through the front with our opposite hand in the front and reaching back to grab onto heel, and we can stretch it out this way. So a couple of options on the ground. So find a bit of a stretch there. If you're in the chair, of course, option might be, depending again on what type of chair you have, turning back to the side, one leg supported, and then reaching for an ankle. And if you can't grab the ankle, just coming back into kind of like our warrior 1, maybe with a bent back leg, but finding that rotation of the hips. Try to tuck the hips up towards the ribs and see if you can find that nice quad stretch. If the leg is extended, you'll still get the quad stretch, but it might be a little bit more in the hip flexor. So if you're looking to stretch out the quads, we'll keep it bent, tuck that tailbone under, feel that quad stretch. So there's your option in the chair. I know if you're on the floor, you might have been in stretching one side already. If you're on your tummy, you can let it go and bring the opposite arm in front, find the opposite quad stretch. And if you're lying, maybe just roll over to the opposite side. I've just flipped around so you can see me. I'm going to stack my knees and hips and find a quad stretch on the opposite knee here for a moment. Whew. It's a big active practice. Feeling energized, like I said last week, by the spring and the weather. All right, let's let that go. If we're not already on our tummies, let's make our way to our tummies. And if you're in the chair, flow through a few cat-cows, seated cat-cows. If we're on our tummies here, we're just gonna work on our back muscle and strength a little bit. So we've just stretched out our quads, so hopefully what we can find is maybe we can reach back for both ankles. If not, flow through the quad stretch one at a time again. If you're coming with me, 2 ankles, we're gonna hold on to them and then squeeze the bum, lift everything off the mat, find a bit of strength through the back, but stretching and opening through the front side body. Stay for a couple breaths. Switch sides if you're flowing through the one-legged quad stretch again. And on the exhale, let's release it down. Good. Woo, let's bring our hands down to the side of our ribs. Push ourselves into a child's pose. If you're in the chair, folding forward over your lap. If you're on the mat, legs can be knitted close together or open wide. Any version of child's pose that works for you here. Take a breath. Breathe into the backside body. All right, from here, let's walk ourselves back up and we're gonna make our way down to our backs. So any way that feels nice and safe. I like to scooch to the end of my mat so that I've got room here, and I like to hold on to one leg to help me get down. And then I'll draw my legs in towards my body, rock side to side. If you're in the chair, your option would be to draw one knee in, let it go, and then the other. Of course, this is an option on the floor as well. Or just rocking side to side. Massage out the low back. You can make circles with your knees in the same direction or opposite directions. And then from here, let's lower the feet down to the mat and we'll come into our figure 4 to stretch out our hips a little bit. So we did do this stretch last week, but we did it in the chair and or as a seated version. So this week we'll do it a little more traditionally on our back in our figure 4. So we'll cross one leg over the other. You can stay here if you're already feeling the stretch, especially if you're in the chair. This is already probably feeling stretchy. And if not, lifting the opposite foot, reach behind, draw that opposite knee in. You can stay in stillness or rock side to side. If you're in the chair, to increase the hip stretch, start to hinge forward, folding over your crossed legs until you get the sensation of stretch that you're looking for. Let's stay for a couple of breaths. See if we can soften through the shoulders. All right, from here, release the hands or come back up to seated if you're in the chair. Let that foot find the mat. Stay in your figure 4, and we're just gonna go into a spinal twist from here. You can twist either by sort of drawing the right leg across with the left foot or crossing. It doesn't matter which way you cross. It's a little bit of a different sensation, but both options are great. If you're seated in the chair, just find a twist in the chair like we did in the opening warm up. So from here, finding a nice gentle spinal twist. Arms can come into cactus or T. Gaze can turn away from the knees if it feels okay. Take a few breaths. So if you've twisted and you're in a little bit more of a closed twist, you might feel a nice stretch down the same left hip that you were stretching in your figure 4. If you've chosen the open, you might feel a bit more stretch. I'll just demonstrate. Stay exactly as you are. If you've sort of opted for this more open twist, you might feel a nice stretch down the opposite hip flexor. Or hey, maybe you've switched and done a little bit of both like me. As the teacher, I get to demonstrate a couple of options and kind of go through both or the variations of the postures and get all the benefits of all the different variations. It's kind of nice. It's a bit of a perk. Stay for another breath. All right, let's come back through center. Bring the gaze back through center. Bring the legs back through center. Uncross, and then we'll go to the other side. So I'm going to cross my right ankle over left this time. Reach through, draw my left knee in. Find a nice stretch down the right side. Switch sides. Doesn't matter if you're with me or on the opposite side. Just switch sides. Knowing where we're going. You can stay in stillness. You can rock a little bit. Maybe start to connect to the breath again. If we lost that connection, it's a good time now as we are a little bit more of a passive, stretchy state of mind. All right, let's release the foot, keeping the cross leg, finding that twist. So either a closed twist, dropping the knees over to the left and turning your gaze away, or dropping them to the right. Arms at cactus or T, gaze over opposite shoulder. And when we're ready, we'll bring the gaze back through center, bring the knees back up through center. Maybe hug them in one more time. You can stay in a nice curled, tight little ball or fold over your lap in the chair. Or maybe you want to find happy baby or any variation or posture your bodies might be craving before we move into Shavasana. An opening through the front side body might feel nice, through a bridge, or just moving straight into Shavasana, that's good too. So I'm sitting up for the last few minutes, but by all means, take your Shavasana in any way that feels comfortable, whether that is sitting up with me in a cross-legged or easy seated posture or lotus or half lotus. Again, maybe now that we've warmed up through the hips, you might feel like lotus or half lotus is something you can attempt. Otherwise, Shavasana, stretched out long along your mats or seated nice and comfortably in your chair, is perfect. Let's just settle back down into our breath. Notice maybe if the breath is a little deeper than the beginning of class, and if it's not, that's okay. Scanning our bodies and noticing if there are any areas we're still holding on to any tension, and just let it go. Shavasana is the time for our physical and energetic bodies to absorb all that good work we just did and turn it into something magical. It's a time for integration and rest. And know that rest is different from sleep, and that we need both every day, and we should never pass up an opportunity to just rest and do nothing. And of course, the beauty of practicing through the video lens is that if your body wants or needs to stay in Shavasana a little bit longer or a lot bit longer, you can let the video play out or press pause here and just stay exactly as you are. If you are ready to get on with your day or evening, start to wake up the body by wiggling through fingers and toes, circling wrists and ankles. Maybe you want to stretch long or curl into a little ball one last time, just before rolling over to one side and making your way up to a comfortable seated position. And from here, we'll all take a big breath together. We'll inhale, sweep our hands up overhead. Exhale, we'll draw our hands through heart center, staying in prayer, resting our hands over our heart or resting them in our lap with palms turned up or down, whatever feels best for the energy you're trying to summon here and now after the practice is over. And we can all just take a moment to thank ourselves for finding our way to our mat, for moving our bodies, for creating a bit of energy and a sense of peace and calm, hopefully. Thank you for coming on this yoga leap with me. I can't wait to flow again with you here next week. Until then, take care. Thank you, everyone. I hope that practice was energizing and exactly what you were looking for right here and right now. See you again next week. Bye.